So I really like title cards. You know, in the beginning of a movie, title pops up. And sometimes they're really cool, especially old movies, like silent movies have great ones. I think that's, you know, I really like them. A lot of times when I make a video or a movie for someone, I try to make the title card a little special, and I try to put a little bit of thought into it. I recently completed a lyric video for a band that I'm friends with called the Bell Curves, for their song Hand Rolled. All the footage from it was footage that I took at a performance of theirs. But I didn't want it to just be the lyrics on the screen. I don't know, I was trying to think of ways to make it more interesting and more kinetic, more lively. There was this method that I had done, and it was a pretty reliable way that I had of getting what I thought was a good-looking film sort of simulation. Really old, damaged film, which I love the look of. The scratches and the grain and like the faded kind of blur. I love it. I'd done this a few times before. I got this film look. So I thought for the lyric video, I'll just do the entire thing like that. And I'll even do it with the lyrics themselves. So that's what I did. I just took all the footage I had and I recorded it through this system. Like I was trying to do it in a way that gave me the most freedom. In essence, I did it the coward's way. Yeah, so I did that and I had like a look that I liked and everything. But then came trying to figure out the title card. The title card proved to be one of the more challenging elements of the whole project. For whatever reason, it sort of really, I don't know, man, it kind of kicked my ass a little bit. It was like one of the harder things that I've dealt with a creative project in recent memory. So the reason I think that this is a little bit challenging right now is because I can't quite figure out the aesthetic that I really want to go with for the title. I implemented a lot of street lights and driving kind of imagery throughout the video. One instinct is to do that, do it as kind of a neon sign, but I tried some neon sign stuff and it wasn't totally working. Now, that was for a different part of the video, so it might work okay for the title. The name of the song is also Hand Rolled, you know, hand rolled, so that like I'm thinking of like handmade, human element. And it's a little tough to figure out. I definitely want to do something handmade. I want to make something. I'm getting a little sick of looking at my computer. And I almost feel like part of the theme of the song, like there's a line in it that's literally and everything. So part of me is like, oh, does that give me like carte blanche to do whatever I want and not really worry too much? Can I just be like, oh, I was, you know, keeping it in line with the theme of the song? But also, like, is that really what it needs? And also, how would I even do it? I don't know, but I'm so close, and this is kind of the last thing I need to do. But I definitely want it to be good, you know? It's like the first thing you see when you start the video. For some reason, like, the opening, that first, like, burst of this is what you're gonna be watching, is something I always have a hard time with and tend to overthink a little bit. And that was, you know, this project, it was definitely no exception. But I just don't know, I don't really know what to do or like how to begin. Like I had this like shadow of an idea and I just burst into action, came over here, got the paper out, and I started to try to work on it, and I was like, wait a second, what the hell was my idea? I realized I didn't really have a full idea. Like, I know I'm overthinking this, I know I am. At this point, like, I kind of should just go for something, but I feel like it's like right there. Like, what I'm trying to do is like right there. Literally so close to figuring it out. It's not like I had an idea and I was trying to find a way to figure it out. I didn't really have an idea. I was like struggling to come up with anything. All I really knew is I wanted to incorporate like cigarette imagery somehow, because the title of the song is Hand Rolled. I was trying to figure out all these different ways to do it, and I was thinking about like a blocky, two-dimensional salt bass kind of thing, doing something like that, and maybe with paper, like construction paper, but it worked because of like rolling paper, something like that. And then I forget what it was. I'm editing this video right now. It was a movie called Pigskin Parade, and it was a big football. It was like a football spinning, and the opening credits were on the football. A movie from 1936. I think it was one of Judy Garland's first movies. I didn't watch the movie. I just found the opening on a website called Art of the Title, which is a great website that has all kinds of title cards from movies going back 100 years. And I think that was what gave me the idea to make a cigarette maxiture. Maxiture is, instead of a miniature, it's a maxiture. You make a bigger version of something instead of a smaller version of something. It's one of those things where like sometimes you get the idea and you're still not totally sure if that's the one. Like sometimes you get an idea and you're like, yes, that's it, that's what I'm doing. But sometimes though you get an idea and it's one of many. It's like a sieve shaking out stuff you don't need. And over time, those things shake out and then there's just like one thing left. You may not totally understand why that thing remained and that thing seems to maintain a presence in your mind, but it does. So that's the one you go with. Empty paper towel tube, perfect. Stuffed it, brown paper bag. So it'd be full of something. Wrapped one side, taped it around so that it would be bigger on one end. And then I wrapped it up in that same brown, like packing paper. What I did is outside, obviously, I put a blackout curtain. So like a backdrop. Bit of hairspray to get it going. Hindsight, I probably didn't need to do that. It actually ended up making things a little more complicated because then it just went up in flames, which cigarettes don't really do. It's like an ember at the end. They don't like it's not like a fireball, but whatever. It's, you know, movie magic. Things are sort of more theatrical versions of themselves, I guess. Sometimes my best course of action is just whatever locks me into something. something. And, you know, you're never totally locked in, but sometimes that's why doing things like analog or handmade or whatever is just better for me, because it gets to a point where you can't undo what you did. And doing stuff digitally in Photoshop or After Effects or something, you can get yourself like stuck in a corner or locked into something, but generally speaking, you do tend to have more of an option to just go back to any point in the process and go from there. Whereas I tend to do better with things where like it gets to a point where if I want to do it any differently, I have to start completely from scratch. So I might as well just see something through. And then I still had the question of what the fuck am I gonna do with this cigarette footage now? Like, I still didn't totally know. I was still trying to put that together. And I was just like messing around with all these different things, how I was gonna incorporate that footage of the cigarette burning into an actual title card. And I had a lot of references of stuff from silent movies. I don't know, I was just really into silent movie title cards at the time. I still am, like, in general, but for some reason that was like heavy on my mind at that point, was silent movie title cards. I wanted to do something with that. So that's, you know, that's what I tried to do. And also incorporate maybe like, I was looking at a lot of album art, a lot of like country music album art, like Emmylou Harris and Jeannie C. Riley and all people like that. I was looking at a lot of their, and Dolly Parton obviously. I was looking at a lot of album covers to sort of pull inspiration from that. And this is where my lack of graphic design talent really became an issue, because it was like, ugh, okay, what do I do with it? I sort of locked myself in. Now what? Now I feel like I have to use it. I am not a graphic designer, nor have I ever been. It is a skill that just eludes me. I am always so impressed by good design. It's something that I like want so bad to be good at. I just don't even know where to start. In a lot of ways, I just don't even have an eye for it. Like, there's a lot of stuff I'm good at. I'm not just gonna be here and be like, oh my god, terrible at everything. This is one thing I struggle with, desperately want to be good at. As I sit here trying to make this work, it's just a lot of second guessing myself, and a lot of not even totally knowing what to do. It has been an uphill battle. But I ended up kind of figuring out a look that I liked, that I felt was properly incorporating the aesthetic elements of the song itself and of the band themselves. So I made that, I just made it in Photoshop, and then I printed it out. I love doing this. I do this with so many different things. Printing out a title, like some type of lettering, manipulating it, stressing it, aging it, whatever, doing all of that stuff by hand, like with sandpaper and whatever else. Love doing that. I was also trying to make it look like it was on like stressed film. Like, I wanted it to have an aged quality, but I wanted it to make sense within the context of what the whole thing was. Because sometimes after I print something out like that, I will scan it immediately, like redigitize it after it's been stressed by hand. But with this, I also wanted it to have a little bit of that projector thing, but I didn't want to run it through the projector because it doesn't always work too well with letters and words. I was able to do it with the lyrics because I could blow them up really big, but with something like the title where there's so many things on the screen and like sort of smaller words and everything, it doesn't really work that well. It gets too blurry. I just projected blank white light. So this is literally just a white screen that I'm projecting right now. And I put that behind the screen, which is just a cut-up shower curtain. And I put the paper on the screen, so I used the projector as a backlight. And then I just filmed it from above the same way I would if I was projecting something onto it. And then on top of that, I found this sheet, this clear transparent sheet that kind of did some interesting stuff when light was put through it. And I didn't know what the hell it was. I have no idea where I got this thing. Like an old laptop maybe? It has this like interesting effect. It's definitely from a screen. You see, like, it's like reflective, and it has this like cool shit that happens. And I did a little research. I think it was from a laptop that I took apart, and I think it is called prism film, because it was not plastic. I could tell that because of how soft it was. It's like very fragile, very soft, and you barely have to do anything to it. Because I like barely ran a piece of sandpaper across it, and like that scratch was in there. So I put that on top of the paper that I printed out, the title on it, and filmed it from above, and I kind of held it a little bit above the paper, because if it's right on top of the paper, the effect is so subtle, but if you lift it up a little bit, you see the blurring, the prism effect a little bit more clearly or whatever. And it looked pretty cool. I thought it sort of was doing a lot of the things that I wanted it to do. It looked like a lot of the things I wanted it to look like. And then I combined it with the footage of the cigarette burning, and it looked pretty cool. Once it was in with the rest of the video, the lyric video and everything, I realized something. It's sort of like the deli paper that you roll up a sandwich in, and it just tightens everything together, and it makes it easier to eat. It just makes the sandwich taste better for some reason. Even though it's all the same elements, it just makes the thing taste better. And that's sort of where I was at. I needed my sandwich paper. And I realized that the way to do it, I thought that the way to do it would be with film damage, film dust. And there are, without exaggeration, there have to be thousands of different versions of that you can download off the internet. And I didn't love the idea of doing that. What I wanted to do was try to make the film dust and damage myself. And I had an idea, and I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna roll with this, you know, catch a vibe and fuck with it, as they say. Kind of always wanted to try it. Like, anytime I've downloaded film dust, I'm like, I should try to make this myself. I don't really know why. Really, I want a break from like looking at my fucking computer. So yeah, this is how I'm gonna do it. What do I need? Piece of paper. Actually, this is cardstock, just so it's a little more durable. This one already has some smudges and stuff on it. I forget why. That's kind of good. Nice ruler. I tried a couple different ways of doing this, but it was some sort of fixative to get some literal dust and dirt and hair and whatever onto paper, and then I would scan that paper and then divide that scanned image up into really as many frames as I could, put all those frames consecutively, and then theoretically that it would look like film damage. Now I am going through the footage, making the individual frames. I can't explain it. I really can't. There's like a horrible dread within me right now. I don't know what it is. I'm like anxious about something, but I have no idea what it could be. Like, I just feel like kind of odd. I don't really know what that's about. It's certainly not a pleasant feeling. And you know, sometimes when I get in a mood like that, or I have that kind of feeling, work like this really helps. Like really monotonous, like a task. Something I can kind of just zone out. It's like just enough stimulation. I'm going crazy. I'm losing my mind. I have this like intensity now that I can't quite get a grip on. I don't totally know like where it's coming from. Oh, am I done? But it ended up working pretty well. In the end, it was like I cranked the opacity way down on the finished thing. It's super, super subtle. But again, it's just that like thin layer on top of everything that brings it all together and makes it more cohesive. And it worked well. That was pretty fun. I'm really glad I did that. I've used that a few times since then. It's kind of cool having my own film dust. It's my dust. Like, I literally used dust from the floor in here. So that's me. That's literally like parts of me, parts of my skin and shit. Kind of weird, but I don't know. Like my hair, I think I did just like do some of that on top of the thing. And then with that, I was done. So that was my journey with this lyric video. It was fun, and I hope I get to do something like that again at some point, because it was pretty cool. It was, I don't know, using a lot of stuff that I have used in the past for, you know, B-roll or inserts or transitions or something, but doing all that stuff for, like, the whole thing looks like that was pretty cool, and it was pretty cathartic, and it also, I sort of consider it to be, like, something of a swan song for, a certain style that I was using a lot for a few months before that, doing the whole thing with the projector onto the shower curtain and getting the projected film kind of look. Yeah, I don't know. God, I hope there's enough in this little yap fest I'm doing here. I've been yapping for about 18 minutes. 4 more minutes, that's like one Seinfeld. And I've just been running my fucking trap, dude. Anywho, I'm gonna do some other stuff now.